The noodle shop was small and unremarkable, the kind of place you walked past without noticing, but I noticed it that evening. I noticed it because through the steamy window, I saw my wife, Grace, sitting in a corner booth with a man I had never seen before. She was laughing, not the polite, practiced laugh she used at dinner parties, the real laugh, the kind that crinkled her eyes and made her whole face light up. She was leaning forward, her hands animated, her body open and engaged. She was alive. The man across from her, Troy, was complaining about the scallions in his bowl. He was pushing them aside with his chopsticks, grumbling about how the kitchen never got it right. Grace reached over, took his bowl, and patiently, meticulously, picked out every single scallion with her own chopsticks. I watched her do it, I watched her smile at him, the same smile she had once given me, years ago, when we were still in love. I watched her listen to him talk about a TV show, her eyes bright with interest, her head tilted in that way she had when she was truly engaged. She had been talking to him for 30 minutes. She had been laughing, listening, being present. She had been the woman I had married, the woman I had fallen in love with, the woman who had disappeared the moment we said, I do. I sat at the counter, hidden in the shadows, and I watched my wife fall in love with someone else. And I realized, with a clarity that felt like a physical blow, that I had been wrong. All those years, I had convinced myself that our marriage was normal, that the silence was just what happened when passion faded, that this was what adulthood looked like. I had been wrong. She was perfectly capable of being warm, attentive, and present. She just chose not to be. She just chose not to be with me. That night, when she came home and asked what we should watch on TV, I put down my fork and said the words I had been swallowing for 2 years. Nothing, Grace. I don't want to watch anything with you. I don't want to sit at this table with you anymore. Hashtag chapter 1, the marriage that wasn't. Objective commentary, the observer's voice. My name is Dr. Helena Vance. I am a marriage counselor, and I have been working with couples for over 20 years. I have seen the slow decay of love, the quiet erosion of intimacy, the death of hope. I have seen it all. But I have never seen a marriage quite like Grace and Ethan's. Grace came to me alone a few weeks after Ethan had told her he wanted a divorce. She was calm, composed, and utterly emotionless. She sat in my office, her hands folded in her lap, and she told me the story of their marriage. We used to be happy, she said. We used to laugh together, talk together, dream together, but somewhere along the way, we stopped and I couldn't find the energy anymore. I couldn't find the desire. He was just there, like furniture, like a familiar presence that I'd stopped noticing. Istadithad. And now that he's leaving, how do you feel? She was silent for a long moment. Confused, she said. Relieved. Guilty. I don't know. I don't know how to feel anymore. Let me ask you something, I said. When you were with Troy, the man from the noodle shop, how did you feel? Her eyes widened. How do you know about Troy? Your husband told me, I said. He told me about watching you with him. He told me about the way you listened, the way you laughed, the way you picked the scallions out of his bowl. He told me that you made him feel like a stranger in his own marriage. She closed her eyes. I didn't mean to hurt him, that I didn't mean to make him feel like that, I felt something with Troy that I hadn't felt in years, that I felt seen, that I felt heard. I felt like I mattered. And you didn't feel that way with Ethan? She shook her head. No, I didn't. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened to us. I leaned forward. Grace, I think you do know. I think you've always known. You just haven't had the courage to admit it. Hashtag chapter 2, the Cold War. Objective commentary, the observer's voice. Ethan came to see me next. He was angry, bitter, and deeply wounded. He told me about the 2 years of silence, the cold dinners, the AirPods, the feeling of being invisible in his own home. She made me feel like I was a burden, he said, like I was a chore she had to endure. She would never look at me, never listen to me, never touch me. She just tolerated me. And then you saw her with Troy, I said. He laughed the hollow, broken sound. I saw her with Troy, and I realized that she was capable of being warm. She was capable of being present. She was capable of loving someone. She just didn't love me. I nodded. And now you want a divorce. Yes, he said. I want a divorce. I want to be free. I want to find someone who actually wants to be with me. What about Grace? What about the years you spent together? He shook his head. Those years were a lie. She was never really there. She was just going through the motions. And I'm tired of being a ghost in my own marriage. I didn't try to change his mind. I didn't try to convince him to stay, because I knew that he was right. A marriage without warmth, without connection, without love, was not a marriage. It was a prison. And he deserved to be free. Hashtag chapter 3, the awakening. Objective commentary, the observer's voice. Grace's awakening came slowly, painfully, and with a clarity that she had been avoiding for years. She started therapy. She started journaling. She started writing down the things she had never allowed herself to feel. She wrote about the resentment, the anger, the loneliness. She wrote about the way she had shut down, the way she had closed herself off from the one person who had truly loved her. And she wrote about Troy. She wrote about the way he had made her feel. She wrote about the guilt, the confusion, the desperate need to be seen. But she also wrote about Ethan. She wrote about the way he had looked at her, the night he had told her he wanted a divorce. She wrote about the pain in his eyes, the pain she had caused. I don't know how to fix it, she wrote. I don't know if I can, I don't know if I even want to, but I know that I can't keep living like this. I can't keep pretending that everything is okay when it's not. I read her journal entries, and I saw a woman who was finally, truly, waking up. A woman who was ready to face the truth, even if it hurt. I didn't fight the divorce. I couldn't. I had spent 2 years fighting a war I hadn't even known I was in, and I was exhausted. I signed the papers without a word, packed my bags, and moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. Grace didn't fight it either. She signed the papers with the same quiet resignation she had signed everything else. She didn't ask me to stay. She didn't apologize. She just let me go. But she didn't leave me with nothing. She left me with a lesson that I would carry with me for the rest of my life. She left me with the knowledge that love was not something you could take for granted, that it required effort, attention, and presence, that silence was not peace, that distance was not safety, that the people you loved could not read your mind, could not heal your wounds, could not fix what you refused to acknowledge. Hashtag chapter 4, the new beginning. Objective commentary, the observer's voice. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Grace moved in with Troy, and Ethan moved on. He threw himself into his work, his fitness, his own healing. He started therapy, joined a hiking group, and reconnected with old friends. He also met someone new. Her name was Clara. She was smart, warm, and utterly unafraid of vulnerability. She laughed at his jokes, listened to his stories, and held his hand without hesitation. She made him feel seen, heard, and valued. And he made her feel the same way. I watched their relationship grow from a distance, and I saw something I hadn't seen in Ethan in years. I saw happiness. Genuine, unforced happiness. I asked him once if he ever thought about Grace. He was silent for a long moment. Sometimes, he said, I think about the years we wasted. I think about the silence, the distance, the loneliness. But I don't miss her. I miss the idea of her. I miss the woman I thought she was. And Clara? He smiled. A real smile. Clara is real. She's present. She's here. And she makes me feel like I matter. Hashtag chapter 5, the reunion. Objective commentary, the observer's voice. The reunion was inevitable. Grace and Ethan ran into each other at a mutual friend's wedding. Grace was with Troy, looking happy and content. Ethan was with Clara, looking even happier. They exchanged pleasantries, awkward and stilted. And then Grace did something unexpected. She pulled Ethan aside, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I wanted to tell you something, she said. I wanted to apologize that I was wrong, that I was so wrong, that I shut you out because I was scared. I was scared of being vulnerable, scared of being hurt, scared of failing, and I ended up hurting you anyway. Ethan looked at her, and he saw the woman he had once loved. He saw the woman who had become a stranger, and he felt nothing but pity. Grace, he said, I forgave you a long time ago, but I don't hold any anger. I'm not the same person I was when we were married, and neither are you. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know I can't undo what I did, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. He reached out, touching her hand gently. Thank you, he said. That means more than you know. Hashtag epilogue. The Cold War ended, and I won. It has been 3 years since the divorce. 3 years since I walked out of that apartment, leaving behind the silence and the loneliness and the cold. I am married to Clara now. We have a home, a family, a life full of laughter and warmth. I don't think about Grace anymore, except in passing. I don't miss her. I don't regret leaving her. But I do think about that night in the noodle shop, that I think about the woman I saw, the woman who was warm and present and alive. I think about the realization that she had been capable of love all along, just not with me. And I realized that it wasn't a failure. IT was a lesson that love requires effort, attention, and presence. A lesson that silence is not peace, that distance is not safety, that the people you love cannot read your mind. I am grateful for that lesson. It taught me how to be a better partner. It taught me how to be a better person. And it led me to Clara, the woman who sees me, hears me, and loves me exactly as I am. Final objective commentary, the observer's voice. Ethan Sterling's story is a reminder that love is not a passive thing. IT is active, intentional, and requires constant nurturing. Silence is not intimacy. Distance is not respect. And the people we love deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. I have watched his journey from loneliness to love, from despair to hope. I've seen him transform from a man who is invisible to a man who is finally seen. And I have learned that the most powerful thing we can do is to let go of what no longer serves us, and to embrace what does. His story is not one of revenge. It is one of redemption. And it is one that will inspire others to find the courage to choose themselves.